excessive and also absolutely necessary for this video. Hello my beautiful friends, my name is Alexandria and welcome to my channel. So today I am going to be doing a very large book haul. I have been buying a lot of books the last couple months, not reading them, of course, but I have been buying a lot of books, and you can probably see the stack. This is just the tip of the iceberg. I'm a little bit ashamed, a little bit, but if y'all would like to see all the books that I picked up over the last couple of months, if y'all are ready, let's get into it. Most of these books I got secondhand, which I'm very happy about. But if you didn't see and you don't keep up with the community tab for my channel, you should definitely do so. I did a poll the other day asking everyone whether they prefer longer collective hauls or if they prefer shorter hauls that are separated by genre. And the vast majority of people said that they preferred longer hauls. I personally like longer hauls. So that is what we're going to be doing today. I am going to be separating this haul into chapters. So if you want to go to a specific genre, if you're not interested in one type of book that I'm talking about, then you can go to a different area and we can all just be happy and find what brings us joy, basically. So I'm gonna try not to ramble as much as possible because there's a lot of books here. Should we start? Where do I start? I actually picked up these books for my sister for Christmas. We both have matching books. I think they're going to be very beneficial going into the new year. So the first one that I have is Sensual Self. This is by Evian Whitney. I either discovered them on Instagram first or their podcast, which was The Sexually Liberated Woman, and now it's called The Sensual Self, I think, if I'm remembering correctly. I will put a link to it down below, but I was so excited to be able to support them and their first book coming out. So this is called Sensual Self. It's a beautiful cover, makes me so happy inside, and it's like the perfect size. It fits perfectly in my hand. Prompts and practices for getting in touch with your body. So something awesome that Evian Whitney runs usually once a year is the Sensual Selfie Challenge. And I did this challenge a couple of years ago, and it was kind of life altering for me. And so I have a very near and dear place in my heart for them, and also their podcast as well has just given me so much insight on many different things. One of their recent podcasts talking about decolonizing gender was absolutely incredible, and wow, I just learned so much from them. I love the sound of their voice and they're just wonderful, and so I'm very excited about this. It says, take a moment to pause. What would it feel like to love every inch of yourself inside and out, and to understand your innermost desires, to be in touch with each of your senses and connected to every part of your body? The exercises in Sensual Self will help you discover your sensuality and reclaim your body, your power, and your sense of self. So this is something that I was excited about specifically for next year, and I love the inside color because I am going to be having my second baby, and I just know all of the shifts and changes that happen not only during pregnancy, but especially after you have a baby. I've been down this road before, and although my mindset is very different and I have a completely different respect and reverence and love for my body as opposed to the first time I did this, I am always willing to lean into things for support and finding resources that I know will be beneficial to me. So I think that this is something that's going to be really helpful, kind of navigating that process of learning my body again and figuring out the new body that I'm going to have after I have baby. I've never been super good about like journaling and stuff, but I feel like because I do have a connection with the person who wrote this, and there's cool prompts inside, I feel like I can do this. I'll keep you updated on whether I actually do this. I'm excited to just have this as like giving myself a little time for myself, for me, especially after baby is born, just to, yeah, give myself a little bit, show myself a little bit of love, and hopefully cultivate a stronger relationship with myself and be able to share that with my children as well. So that was a very long explanation for this one book. I need to not do that. Okay, so the next one that I have is Ancestors Said, 365 Meditations for a Peaceful Year. This is by Ehime Ora. This is somebody that I've been following for a while on Twitter, I believe. Choose to no longer be an empty body. Your bones were not made to hold the sadness of others. You are not a host, a coffin for people to bury themselves into. Ancestors Said is a 365-page debut collection of prose by Ehime Ora, a Nigerian wordsmith and Ifa and Orisha priestess. I almost said princess. This prose collection holds daily words of affirmation and healing created from the heart to intuitively guide you all year long. Do I even have to say that I'm like excited about this? Because one, it's absolutely beautiful, and it's just little, like each page is a short little affirmation. And I think it's just gonna be nice, like I said, with this book, to use this going through the portal of motherhood again in a different way with 2 children and labor and birth and all of that is going to be happening. I'm just like preparing my mind, preparing my body, but a lot of it I am focusing on is my mental health and my mental aspect of going into this experience, and I think that this is going to be really helpful for that. So this is going to be kind of like an overarching category, so I'm going to mainly categorize this as like fiction, contemporary, like more modern fiction, I guess. I have The House of Leaves by Mark Z. Danielewski. This is a doozy of a book. Don't ask me why I bought this. Don't ask me. I'm pretty sure I heard Kayla from Books and Lala talking about this book, and she just talked about it in such a way that I was so intrigued, and I was like, this shit does not sound like it's for me. But I was also like, that shit sounds really fucking weird, and that is for me. So we'll see if I actually end up tackling this, because I've heard that some people say that it's like the most terrifying book in the world, but then I've heard other people say that it's not at all. So I'm probably not going to read this until like October spooky season time, because that's when I feel drawn to books like this. But something interesting about this book is that it's written in like a really weird way. Like there's footnotes on some pages, some of it's just like a little bit at the bottom, some of it's upside down, it's written diagonally, like it's really fucking weird. And I guess it adds to the whole experience of reading, and I am fucking nervous to read it. Look, there's even like pictures. So I'm nervous about reading this, but I'm also kind of excited. Maybe I'll make a vlog. The story remains unchanged, focusing on a young family that moves into a small home on Ash Tree Lane where they discover something terribly wrong. Their house is bigger on the inside than it is on the outside. Sounds like a lot of nightmares that I used to have as a child, to be perfectly honest. So just living out my nightmares in the form of this book. I need to look up the trigger warnings for this, because if there's certain triggers in it, I may not be able to read it. That's my issue with like horror and like thrillers and stuff like that, but we'll see. The next book that I am not sure whether it is YA or not is Home is Not a Country. Wow. Is this not the most beautiful book you've ever seen? This is by Sophia, probably pronouncing that terribly, El Hilo. Nima doesn't feel understood by her mother, who grew up far away in a different land, by her suburban town, which makes her feel too much like an outsider to fit in and not enough like an outsider to feel that she belongs somewhere else. She has her childhood friend, Hytham, with whom she can let her guard down and be herself until she doesn't. As the ground is pulled out from under her, Nima must grapple with the phantom of a life not chosen, the name her parents didn't give her at birth, Yasmin. But that other name, that other girl, might just be more real than Nima knows, and more hungry. And the life Nima has, the one she keeps wishing were someone else's, she might have to fight for it with a fierceness she had never knew she had. So I've heard really good things about this book. The cover is absolutely wonderful. Another one is a book that I've had on my radar for a long time. I just haven't gotten a chance to actually get to it, and my body is ready. My body is ready and I'm going to get to it in 2022. If you take the dust jacket off, it's really cool. You can see like their shadow on it, and I just love the cover of the book too because it's yellow and I love yellow. It makes me happy inside. This is Yoke by Mary H.K. Choi. I've heard so many people raving about this book. This is about two sisters, and I believe one of them ends up having cancer, and they end up living together. I think they have like a strained relationship, and it's just kind of about their separate lives and their lives together, and flung together by sickness and bound by family secrets, will the sisters learn more about themselves and each other than they're willing to confront? I feel like this is going to be a lot for me personally because I have a sister. Yeah, we'll see how this goes, especially if I read it while I'm still pregnant, because I'm sure there will be lots of tears happening because anytime there's a sister involved in a story now, I just cry because I love my sister so much. And the last book that's kind of in this category is a sequel and a duology. The first one is A Song of Wraiths and Ruin. I read that last year and really enjoyed it. And I pretty much just had to buy these books because of the covers. If you haven't seen the cover of A Song of Wraiths and Ruin, where have you been? What are you doing with your life? It's absolutely exquisite. It's so beautiful. And this one is just more of the same. Just more of the same. This is A Psalm of Storms and Silence. This is by Roseanne A. Brown. And like I said, this is a sequel and the ending of the duology. So basically this is just a continuation of the last story. In the last story, we're following a boy and a girl mainly. The boy has a sister who is taken by some bad people, and he ends up having to make a deal with a bad person in order to get her back. And basically he has to kill this princess. And then also what is happening simultaneously is that the princess has to kill this boy for reasons. And so they're on this mission to kill each other, but some other things happen. They kind of start having a relationship. I really enjoyed the story. It was really fun. It was really intriguing. It was really entertaining, kept my attention. And I'm excited to read this one. I have heard mixed things about this book, but we will see how it goes. I may end up reading it on audiobook because I feel like when I was reading the first book, I felt like I needed the audiobook to just like absorb the information a little bit better because there was a lot of information. But maybe this will be a little bit more like story character driven. I remember I really liked the male lead in this book, and so yeah, I'm excited to get to this and wrap up this series because it's always very satisfying wrapping up series. Okay, so now I'm going to get to my stack, my thick stack of manga that I have collected, dear God, over the past couple months. These are all from a sale that was going on from Right Stuff Anime, I believe is the website. I started reading manga last year and it whet my appetite basically. And I started following a lot of people who talk about manga, and I just got really excited. And so I bought all of these. And I haven't read them, which is weird because they're very short. It's not like it would have taken me very long to read them, but here we are. This one's called A Bride's Story. This is the first volume. All of these are first volumes unless they are standalone. Chronicling the story of Amir Hagal, a young woman from a nomadic tribe betrothed to her 12-year-old boy, 8 years her junior. Coping with cultural differences, blossoming feelings for her new husband, and expectations from both her adopted and birth families, Amir strives to find her role as she settles into new life and a new home in a society quick to define that role for her. The art style looks fucking amazing, and this was something that was a little bit different than other manga that I have read, because I've read a lot of like slice of life, romance type stuff, and just wanted something a little bit different. This is my only like hardback manga as well, so this is exciting, and it'll look really pretty if I do end up liking it and want to purchase more of the volumes. It's gonna look really pretty on my bookshelf. So this is called Delicious Dungeon. If you don't know anything about me, I love reading about food. I love just food in general. I love watching people eat food. I love cooking food. I love eating food. I love reading about food. I love watching food animes. I love watching food, like K-dramas. I have a problem, but I just love food so much. It brings me so much joy. And so when I heard about this one, it actually has like recipes in it throughout the book. And so that sounds super cool. It says, it's eat or be eaten, literally. When young adventurer Laos and his company are attacked and soundly thrashed by a dragon deep in a dungeon, the party loses all its money and provisions, and a member. They're eager to go back and save her, but there is just one problem. If they set out with no food or coin to speak of, they're sure to starve on the way. But Laos comes up with the brilliant idea, let's eat the monsters, slimes, basilisks, and even dragons. None of them are safe from the appetites of these dungeon-crawling gourmands. So, this sounds really interesting, very different. Also kind of sounds like a video game. I think it would be a cool video game. My favorite part of playing Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild is cooking. I literally start the game and I cook something. Well, I cook a lot of things and then I pretty much stop because I just love cooking so much. More games need to add cooking because it's a wonderful quality to have in video games. Speaking of food, I have Beauty and the Feast, Volume 1. A table for one turns into a table for two. I believe this is like a romance. When her husband passed away, Shuko Yakumo lost her appetite for life and with it her love for cooking. But her neighbor, Shohei Yamato, brings an end to Shuko's solitary existence. A high school baseball player living on his own, Shohei has a seemingly bottomless stomach, and this presents a challenge that Shuko is only happy to accept. Next one I have is Perfect World. In search of perfection, a company get-together reunites 26-year-old Sugumi with her high school crush, Itsuki. In the years they've been apart, Itsuki has realized his dream of becoming an architect, but along the way he's also suffered a spinal cord injury that's left him in a wheelchair. Seeing Itsuki again rekindles Sugumi's feelings for him. It also forces her to confront her own hidden prejudices. Itsuki's disability seems like an intimidating obstacle at first, but soon Sugumi discovers that her world feels imperfect without him. That sounds so sweet. Oh, okay. I'm very, very excited about this one. The next one I have is Rent a Girlfriend on borrowed time. You can rent a girlfriend, but can you buy love? Hapless college first year Kazuya Kinoshita, reeling from a bad breakup, rents a few hours of friendly companionship at the aquarium with the idle, beautiful, and polite Shizuru. But rock bottom might be lower than Kazuya thought. Family, school, and life all start to go wrong, and to make matters worse, Shizuru is much more than a pretty face and sweet demeanor he thought he bargained for. This is Boys Run the Riot. This says, at the seams, high schooler Ryo knows he's transgender, but he doesn't have anyone to confide in about confusion he feels. He can't tell his best friend who he secretly got a crush on, and he can't tell his mom who's constantly asking why Ryo dresses like a boy. He certainly can't tell Jen, the new transfer student who looks like just another bully. The only time Ryo feels at ease is when he's wearing his favorite clothes. Then and only then the world melts away and he can be his true self. Then next we have another book that has some representation in it as well. This is A Silent Voice. I believe this is an anime as well. Shoya is a bully. When Shoko, a girl who can't hear, enters his elementary school class, she becomes his favorite target. And Shoya and his friends goad each other into devising new tortures for her. But the children's cruelty goes too far. Shoko is forced to leave the school and Shoya ends up shouldering all the blame. 6 years later, the two meet again. Can Shoya make up for his past mistakes, or is it too late? The next one is one that I'm very, very excited about. It's actually kind of funny because I watched this entire anime, but I wanted to get the manga because it's just so cute. It's exactly right up my alley, my speed. This is Laid Back Camp. Like, look at how colorful this is, and I just wanted to have it on my shelves. This is basically about a group of girls that go camping together. I would love to watch it again because it just brought me so much joy, but glad to have this and excited to read through that again. Then I have a queer manga. This is called Bloom Into You. Yu has always adored shoujo manga and yearns for the day when someone might give her a love confession that would send her heart aflutter. Yet when a junior high school classmate confesses his feelings to her, she feels nothing. When the next person to confess to you is Nanami, has her romantic dream finally come true? I do feel a little bit strange reading, I think it's called Yuri manga, about like teens, but I heard that this is like more wholesome. This one I think is a anime. This one was like one of the things on sale, and I didn't actually know it was about. I didn't put any research into picking this one. This one is about a surfer girl named Hinako, who is full of confidence when she's out in the ocean, but when it comes to everything else in her life, she second guesses herself. After a fire breaks out, she meets a firefighter named Minato, and the two quickly fall in love. So I'm assuming this is a romance, love story type of manga. This one that I have is another one that was on sale that I didn't like put any research into. This is The Daily Lives of High School Boys. This is just a slice of life manga about some high school boys and the shenanigans that they get into. I'm hoping that this will give me vibes of like Ouran High School Host Club, because that is one of my like comfort anime and one of my favorite shows ever. And yeah, if I can get more of that energy in my life, I will be set, happy, overjoyed, all of the things. And then the last one that I have is Sweat and Soap. This is for my mature people here, my adults watching, and I've heard so many people talking about this manga. It's basically about a woman who works at a toiletry maker, and she loves the company so much because she is ashamed of her body odor. And she basically comes across this man who likes the way that she smells. So that sounds a little weird, but I'm here for it. So I'm looking forward to this one. Like I said, I've heard a lot of really good things about it, and I'll definitely be getting future volumes if I do end up enjoying this. So that is all of the manga that I have purchased recently, and now we will go ahead and tackle my absurd amount of classics that I have here. So I mainly have Barnes & Noble classics. I don't know what it is about specifically Barnes & Noble classic editions. They look similar enough to where it's like aesthetically pleasing and it makes my brain happy. And also I saw someone on Instagram who like made a little rainbow out of them. All of these classics I did get off of Depop, which is a wonderful, terrible, wonderful, amazing, worst place for me to know about, because wow, spend way too much money on there. So luckily these books are like, I guess like $3 a piece or so, but it definitely adds up. Before I get into those, I will just talk about these classics that I have right here. And classics is definitely something that obviously I am going to be getting more into in the next year. I said that I wanted to last year, but it didn't work out as well as I wanted to. I did read some classics, but I think I read more like modern classics. We'll get there. There's no rush. We have time. I have Emily Dickinson Love Poems. I just loved this like edition of it. It's so pretty and it feels kind of like a little bit velvety in a weird way. But it has like little flowers inside, and it'll be a quick read. I don't read a lot of poetry. Actually, I don't read poetry at all, but but I heard that these were kind of good introductions into poetry, and so I'm hoping that it'll, you know, just ease me into the world of poetry. It's super short too, so I have been getting into Emily Dickinson because I've been watching this show on Apple Plus. Is that what it's called? With, what's her name? Haley Steinfeld. And then I have another book of poetry by Robert Frost. This is the Pocket Book of Robert Frost's Poems. And this is a very like old looking copy, but I'm here for it. And we will see how this goes. We'll see if I am a poetry pal. This is A Room of One's Own by Virginia Woolf. In A Room of One's Own, Virginia Woolf imagined Shakespeare had a sister equal to Shakespeare in talent and equal in genius, but whose legacy is radically different. This imaginary woman never writes a word and dies by her own hand, her genius unexpressed. If only she had found the means to create, argues Woolf, she would have reached the same heights as her immortal sibling. In this classic essay, Virginia Woolf takes on the establishment, using her gift of language to dissect the world around her and give voice to those who are without. And then this one is also an author that I've heard a lot of really good things about. This is by Gabriel Garcia Marquez. This is Love in the Time of Cholera. I'm not sure who I heard talking about this. I think there's another book by this author that I have heard is very good, but I cannot remember off the top of my head. What lasts forever? Is it death or love? Florentino Artiza has never forgotten his first love. He has waited nearly a lifetime in silence since his beloved Fermina married another man. No woman can replace her in his heart. But now her husband is dead. Finally, after 51 years, 9 months, and 4 days, Florentino has another chance to declare his eternal passion and win her back. Will love that has survived over half a century remain unrequited? We will find out. Pretty sure I've talked about this, but I have Anna Karenina. My love for Anna Karenina kind of was rekindled. I had seen the movie a long time ago with Keira Knightley and loved it. I pretty much love everything Keira Knightley's in, to be perfectly honest. I was interested in the story again when I read Anna K. Absolutely loved that book. It's like a modern, contemporary YA retelling of Anna Karenina. I actually read the sequel, Anna K. Away, this year, and it was so good. But of course, I'd like to read the classic by Leo Tolstoy. This is scary. This is scary. But I think that it's possible. We also have Jane Eyre. I had another copy of this book. I read this a long time ago, but I just wanted to have this edition to have on hand for myself and my children in the future. And this is obviously by Charlotte Bronte. This is like a gothic coming of age, gothic lit type of story, and yeah, I really enjoyed it when I read it the first time. I didn't realize how much I enjoyed classics growing up, but now that I'm thinking about it and like revisiting them again, I'm like, wow, I read a lot of classics actually when I was younger. So Jane Eyre was one of them that I remember enjoying a lot. Speaking of Bronte sisters, we have Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte, and this is Emily Bronte's only novel, and it remains one of literature's most disturbing explorations into the dark side of romantic passion. I also enjoyed this one as well. This is another book that I read previously, and just kind of want to jog my memory, rekindle that joy and excitement for classic. Starting out with books that I've already read before will kind of ease me into the writing styles that tend to be throughout classic literature. The next one that I have here is another book that I've already read. This is Great Expectations by Charles Dickens. I remember this was like one of my favorite books, and I actually started reading it a couple months ago, but I was still very much in my reading slump and in my first trimester, so that didn't really work out, but I am definitely going to reread it again because I really loved this book. I really enjoyed Charles Dickens. This one is a thick boy. We got Les Miserables. Don't ask me to pronounce that correctly because I'm not going to. By Victor Hugo. I love this play. I'm a theater kid, and so this musical is one of my favorites. I feel like every musical kid like knows about Les Mis. We have this chunky boy of a novel. Another Charles Dickens, we have David Copperfield. Dickens' favorite of all novels is the story of a boy who loses his parents at an early age and who escapes the torture of working for his pitiless stepfather to try to make something of himself and, with luck, find true happiness. David Copperfield is perhaps this great author's most autobiographical novel, so I think that sounds really interesting. I would love to learn more about Charles Dickens. The next one that I have is The Count of Monte Cristo by Alexandre Dumas. This is a guy that's engaged to a beautiful woman who's about to become a captain of a ship, but his perfect life is shattered when he is framed by a jealous rival and thrown into a dark prison cell for 14 years. Wow. I would be pissed. This is War and Peace by Leo Tolstoy. If someone ever breaks in, this will be my weapon of choice because wow. I'm surprised I can fit it in my hand. My interest in this book really came from hearing about it from Emma, or Emmy. Her YouTube channel I will put down below. And she was doing like reading vlogs, reading War and Peace, and it seemed so daunting and so scary. But like, nothing is impossible. And I feel like I want to do a lot of things that challenge me, because like I'm gonna be giving birth to a whole human, which I've done before, but you know. So I feel like I can do a lot of things that are challenging. And reading this book might be one of the things that I do. When I accomplish this, we're gonna have a celebration. Who has this much to write about anything? I don't understand. And then last but not least, we have Sense and Sensibility by Jane Austen. I really wanted to actually this year read all of Jane Austen's books. I have read a couple of them, but I haven't read all of them, but I wanted to get them in the Barnes & Noble Classics editions, and this was the only one that was available at the time. So Sense and Sensibility, I have not read this one yet. This is her first published novel, which is a wonderfully entertaining tale of flirtation and folly that revolves around two starkly different sisters, Eleanor and Marian Dashwood. I hope y'all enjoyed this video. I hope you got something from this experience of watching me haul all of these books. I would like to say that I'm going to have like a buying ban for myself when it comes to books, but I don't make promises that I can't keep. Let me know if you have read any of these books, or if you're excited to hear me talk about any of these books. If you want to hear me do if you want to see me do like a reading vlog or something focused on one of these books, that would be cool, maybe. So that is pretty much it. Subscribe if you have not already. I hope you're doing well. I hope you're staying safe, and I hope you're finding joy in whatever way it is that you can. I love you. Bye.